What's up, y'all? It's your boy eBay Predictions. I'm going to be doing UFC Vegas 13, Glover Teixeira versus Thiago Santos. This is an awesome card. Cool 10-fight card. I'm doing this a little early, so if some fights come on, I might update it on the comments and tell you who I'm going with. But yeah, let's get to this card and let's talk about it. We start off with Ronnie Barcelos versus Khaild Taha. Ronnie comes in 15-1. Fights out of Brazil, age 35, height 5'7", and reaches 67. Khaild, 14-2, fights out of Germany, age 27, height 5'5", and reaches 69. Ronnie's most recent one was against Said Nurmagomedov. His most recent loss was to Mark Dickman. That's an interesting last name. In 2014. Khaild, his most recent one was against Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva did pretty good against, I think, Tagir Umblekov. I think that's how you say the guy's name. He did pretty good. And his most recent loss was to Nanid Normani. This is a hard fight to really to pick. I don't think Ronnie Barcelos should be the biggest favorite in the world, but he should be a favorite. Khaild is obviously he showed knockout power in UFC 236. I forgot the opponent. He knocked out bad, but he took him out. So he got some power on him. But Ronnie Barcelos, I mean, I think he has a lot of power. He's super technical, and I feel like he has decent grappling. I feel like he's a really well-rounded opponent, and I think he gets this done by decision. I might have a few decisions on this card, but yeah, I'm going to be going him by decision. Next fight, Darren Elkins versus Eduardo Garagorri, I think that's how you say his name. Darren comes in 24-9. Fights at Indiana, but I think he fights with Alpha Male, right? So I think that's in Sacramento. So he fights at both of those places. Age 36, height 5'10", and reaches 71. Eduardo's 13-1. Fights out of Uruguay. Age 31, height 5'9", and a reach of 70. Darren Elkins' his most recent one was against Michael Johnson, who's a good opponent. He's a good fighter, I would say that. But that was in 2018. Eduardo's most recent win was against Humberto Bendene. Darren Elkins' most recent loss was to Nate Landwehr. I will give him a lot of credit on that one. He did really good, and some people thought he won that fight. I don't know, man. That was a hard. It was a long time. I gotta rewatch that fight, but I felt like Elkins won, but Nate didn't have that much damage on him. So I guess that was the reason why Nate won, but I didn't have a problem with the decision. It was a close fight. Eduardo's most recent loss was to Ricardo Ramos. Darren Elkins, man, he's been struggling a little bit. He's on, I think, a 4-fight losing streak. He's lost to some good guys like Ricardo Lamas, what's his name, Alexander Volkanovski. Who else did he lose to? Ryan Hall. Yeah, Ryan Hall. I think that was one of them. So he's lost to good guys, and I've seen that he still has the ability to win fights, with a lot of pressure and stuff like that in wrestling. And I think this is a good matchup for him to get a W. Eduardo, obviously, I'm really looking at the Ricardo Ramos fight. He struggled. He's a good Muay Thai fighter, but he's very, he keeps his position. He doesn't really squat. If you really, this is how you can tell a striker's ready for a wrestler. It's, they had some bend in their knees. You saw it in Kevin Lee when he fought Gadelha. He had such a low stance because he was ready to sprawl. So I don't see that in Ricardo Ramos. I think he's there to get taken down. I think Darren Elkins can get this done by decision. He needs the win. I think coming off them losses, he's going to be motivated to get the W. Obviously, Eduardo's going to be obviously motivated himself, but I think he can get the win. Next fight. Gustavo Lopez versus Felipe Colares. Gustavo comes in 11-5, fights out of Las Vegas, age 31, height 5'5", and reaches 67. Felipe's 9-2, fights out of Brazil, age 26, height of 5'8", and reaches 69. Gustavo's most recent win was against Joey Roquette, and his most recent loss was to Merab Devilishi. Felipe, his most recent win was against Domingo Peralta, and his most recent loss was to Montel Jackson. So these guys lost to some pretty good prospects, but obviously Merab Devilishi is the guy. And I was actually really impressed with Lopez in that fight. He gave him a really good fight, and I was really impressed there. Corrales kind of, obviously I picked Montel Jackson to beat him, but I thought he'd give more fight in there. He kind of just got dominated. And I think Lopez should take this. And I think seeing what he was able to do with high-level competition and have a good fight like that, I think Lopez takes this done. I'm going by decision. Next one, another hard name. Max Griffin versus Ramiz. Oh, man, I'm going to butcher this guy's last name. Brahimaj, I think that's how you say his last name. Max Griffin comes in 15-8, fights out of Sacramento, age 34, height 5'11", and reaches 67. Ramiz is fights out of Texas. No, Ramiz is 8-2, fights out of Texas, age 27, height 5'10", and reaches 73. Max Griffin's most recent win was against Azlim Amadev. I think that was on 236. I'm positive that's 2 years ago now. Was it 2 years ago? That was probably in 2019. No, I'll say that. I'll give him that. I think so. Yeah, that was in 2019. So, and his most recent loss is Alex Oliveira. That was a competitive fight. Give him a lot of, I don't want to disrespect him, but he did lose that fight, but it was competitive. Ramiz's most recent one was against Carlos Martinez, and his most recent loss was to Justine Patterson. Ramiz is, he got a double leg on him, and he goes for submissions like hardcore. So I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to really choose. I obviously I want to respect Max Griffin, and he's the vet in here. He has the experience. He's fought against a lot of high level competition. He's fought against Colby Covington. He's fought against obviously he even got ranked. He would I know that sounds crazy, but he was a number 15 guy before. He beat Mike Perry. So the guy, he has some reps on him. But it's kind of hard to go for him right now because it's like, man, I think he's on a 3-fight losing streak too. No, he might. Did he lose to? Who did he lose to? He got robbed. I forgot his name. Oh my god, he got robbed in Brazil bad. So I don't know. This is a hard one for me. But I'm gonna be going Ramiz by. I'm going to second round sub, man. Max Griffin's a hard guy to, he has good takedown defense. I'll say that. Against Zalim, he showed good takedown defense, but I think this Ramiz kid is on a completely different level than Zalim, and I think Ramiz gets this done by a second round sub. Next fight, Trevin Giles versus Bevon Lewis. Trevin comes in 12-2, fights at Houston, Texas, age 28, height 6 foot, and a reach of 74. Bevon is 7-2, fights out of Georgia. I'm pretty sure he's not a Albuquerque guy. I think he's an Albuquerque guy. I'm pretty sure I've seen Winklejohn in his corner. So I don't know about that one. Height 6'3" and a reach of 79. Trevin is the most recent one was against James Krause. I don't consider that a win, but it is what it is. His most recent loss was to Gerald Mishart. Bevon Lewis's most recent one was against DeCon Townsend. And his most recent loss was to Darren Stewart. Darren Stewart's a good fighter. I think he gives a lot of guys. He's a hard fight for everybody. So this is a hard one for me to choose because Trevin Giles has some really. You look at his record. He actually has some impressive wins. He got wins over I think Brendan Allen, Ryan Spahn. Who else he got a win over? Villanueva. Obviously Villanueva is not doing too good, but he's a UFC fighter. So he has a win over him. It's interesting that, he has these wins, and then I see some of his losses to Gerald Mishart. I think, was it Patrick Cummins? No, not Patrick Cummins, or Zach Cummins, right? I think it was Zach. One of those two. And he has losses to those guys, and he didn't look too good in that in there. I don't know if it's the size or even I was rewatching the Brendan Allen fight, and it was just so weird. Like, Brendan was so dominant the first round. And I don't know what he got hit. I don't know if it was the wind that hit his chin or something like that. He went out and just got, his legs gave out on him, and he just was falling everywhere. And just got, he went out. So, and got choked out. But I don't know, man. Trevin Giles hasn't really impressed me, I'll be honest. And then him fainting, obviously I'm not going to call him, I'm not going to say, he bitched out. I'm not going to that was my first reaction. But I don't want to be that guy to say that about him. But I was to say who I've been actually impressed, I've been really impressed with Bevon Lewis, especially his fight against Uriah Hall. I thought he was winning the whole fight. like until Uriah Hall said enough is enough and you don't deserve to beat me and knocked him out. But I think Trevin Giles has problems with guys that are bigger than him and stronger than him and that are just willing to just pick him up and slam him. So yeah, I'm gonna be taking a risk here. I know a lot of people are going Trevin Giles on this, but I'm gonna be going Bevon Lewis via decision. I think Bevon can get this done. Next fight, Marcos Rogerio de Lima versus Alexander Romanov. Marcos comes in 76, fights out of Brazil, age 35, height 6'1", and reaches 75. Alexander Romanov is 12-0, fights out of Moldova, age 29, height 6'2", and reaches 75. Marcos' most recent one was against Ben Sassoli, and his most recent loss is to Stefan Struve. Doesn't look good to me. Alexander Romanov's most recent one was against Roque Martinez, and he's also undefeated, so he doesn't have any recent losses. This is an interesting fight. I think Marcos de Lima can, he can give him some problems. I think there's some things he does well. He has good power. I will say that he kind of got in that little, I wouldn't say a war with Ben Sassoli, a little scrap, and he got in that scrap. But I think it's hard for me to really pick somebody out of these, but I'm gonna be going Alexander Romanov. I think losing like that to Stefan Struve, he obviously hurt Struve. He could have won it, but he got choked out. I thought Struve should have really retired there. Looking at what's going on now for him, but yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say who I think wins this, but I think it's Alexander Romanov. I don't know why it's hard for me to say it, but I'm trying to think like I want to be fair to Marcos, but it's like I don't want to sound blunt and say he can't win, but I think I'm going Romanov by second round submission. But yeah, I'm gonna do that. Next fight, Andrei Arlovski versus Tanner Boser. This is a good fight. Andrei Arlovski comes in 29-19, fights out of Florida. Height 6'3" and it reaches 77. Tanner is 19-6-1, fights out of Canada. Height 6'2" and it reaches 75. So Arlovski has the reach advantage by 2. Arlovski's most recent win was against Felipe Lins. Tanner also beat that guy too by impressive destruction of the face. And Tanner Boser, his most recent one was against Rafael Pizzoa. And Andrei Arlovski's most recent losses to Jairzinho Rosenstrike. And Tanner Boser's, I think, most recent loss is Cyril Gain. This is an interesting fight here. I think if I was to say who wins, I think Tanner Boser has the momentum, but Arlovski is a guy that I thought Arlovski beat Augusto Sakai. I thought Arlovski is a really hard fighter to beat. I think he beat Ben Rothwell. He's one of these guys that's like he's not an easy guy to beat. You kind of like if you knock him out, you're kind of like the real deal almost. Like Jairzinho's a top 5 guy. You seen what Jairzinho's done. I wasn't a believer in Jairzinho, but when him knocking out JDS, I'm like, okay, maybe he is legit. So I think Tanner will get this. Ooh, sorry about that. I think Tanner gets this done. I think Tanner's been improving. He's been looking amazing. I think he gets this done. Next, Claudia Gadelha versus Xiaonan Yan. I think right. I think it was Yan Xiaonan. I think that's how you say it. Her name. I'm gonna just say Yan, or Yan, or whatever. Claudia Gadelha comes in 18-4, is the number 4 strawweight in the world. Fights out of Brazil, but I think she doesn't fight out of there. I think she fights at Philadelphia. That's where Mark Henry does his stuff. I think, is it Philly? Age 31, height 5'4", and reaches 63. Yan is 12-1, is the number 8 strawweight in the world. Fights out of China. Age 31, height 5'5", and reaches 63. Claudia's most recent one was against Angela Hill. That's debatable. Jan's most recent win, and really crucifixion of my girl Karolina Kovacevic, and her most recent loss was to Karina Halayan in 2010, and Claudia's most recent loss was to Nina Ansarov, and that was like 2 years ago, I think. This is an interesting fight. I'll say that. This is an interesting fight, but man, it's hard. I've been tossing and turning. Am I gonna go Claudia? But man, Claudia's look like trash. Like, I feel like Claudia should have a wrestling advantage in this fight, hopefully. But I was thinking about going Yan for a minute, and then I switched my pick. I thought about the jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. But man, did she just batter Karolina Kowalkiewicz? She just killed her. She broke her orbital bone and stuff like that, and man, that was hard to watch. So this obviously I think Yan can win this, and they're both the same age, but I think Claudia's experience and her wrestling, and I think she's really cool with the judges nowadays. I don't know what she's doing with the judges behind the scenes or whatever. I don't know what she's doing, but she's doing something right, and she's getting the right call. So I'm going to be going Claudia Gadelha by decision. I could be eating crow. I really do feel like I might be eating crow on this one, but yeah, I'm hopefully her jiu-jitsu comes in, and her wrestling and all that comes in, and I trust Mark Henry. He's a good coach, so I'm not confident on that one, if anything. Another one I'm not really confident on. Ian Heinisch versus Brendan Allen. Heinisch is 14-3, comes in the number 15 middleweight in the world. Brendan's 15-3. Ian fights at Colorado, age 32, height 5'11", reaches 72. Brendan fights at Louisiana, age 24, height 6'2", and reaches 77. Ian's most recent win was against Gerald Mishart, and his most recent loss was to Omari Amakadev. Brendan's most recent win was against Kyle Dacus, and his most recent loss was to Anthony Hernandez. Brendan Allen, I've been just nothing but impressed with this kid, man. This kid's a monster, and I've been super impressed. Ian Heinisch, I kind of got, when I seen his win against Antonio Carlos Jr., I was like, wow, this guy is the truth. And I kind of fell into the hype train, and I thought he was going to beat Derek Brunson. And I just saw how great his scrambling ability is, how great his Granby rolls are. And I thought this kind of, defensive scrambles and grappling would just give Derek Brunson a problem. But I've noticed that, how people have their power double leg, and if they don't get it, it's over for him. It's kind of like that for Ian Heinisch. If he's not, if he doesn't get the first sprawl, if he isn't leading the scrambles defensively, then it's kind of over for him. And the guy, if you just basically can maintain the takedown and keep strong and keep going, rushing, he'll eventually get tired. Like Derek Brunson, he did not give up on the takedown and kept going. Same thing with Omari Makadev, did not give up on the takedowns and kept going. So if Brendan Allen can do that, I think he can win this fight. Ian Heinisch is a good fighter. He has decent power. He knocked down Gerald Mishart before Kazmat Chimaev knocked him down. So it's like, that's kind of interesting. Why Chimaev's bullying knocked out opponent? I don't even want to have that conversation. Brendan Allen, he showed his toughness against Kyle Dacus, but he's been rocked before. I wouldn't say this is his highest level of competition. He beat Kevin Holland. That's super impressive to me. I'm a big Kevin Holland fan, but I wouldn't call myself a Kevin Holland fan. I think he's really talented, but I think Brendan Allen gets this done by decision. I'm gonna say that. I think he gets this done by decision. Ian Heinisch kind of struggles with these guys that maintain the offensive grappling and don't give up. Antonio Carlos Jr. He has phenomenal jiu-jitsu, and I think he does have good wrestling, but I don't think his wrestling is just. I don't think he's there. I don't think it's on the par of a Derek Brunson or a Omari Makadev, where they're focused more on the takedowns, and he's more focused on the whole aspect of grappling, right? And Brendan's been working with Derek Brunson. I think he's been working with, I think they're called Stanford MMA. I know them as Hard Knocks, but it's okay. Let's call him Stanford MMA. I've seen pictures with him with Derek Brunson. He's been working really hard with Brunson. So I'm not confident. And somebody dying. Sorry for the noise, but I'm not confident, but I'm gonna be going Brendan Allen. I think Ian Heinisch did knock out his boy Gerald Mishart. He did knock him out. So Brendan Allen's trying to get that one back. But I'm gonna be going Brendan Allen by decision. I think he gets it done. Just him getting good work in at Stanford. I don't know I think he might be getting cornered by Henry Hoof, but him just getting good work in general. I think he wins this fight by decision. Next, the main event, Glover Teixeira versus Thiago Santos. I did a whole entire breakdown on this. Go check that out. But I'll keep this short. I know, man, this is a hard one for me to go with. I got a lot of love for Glover. Glover has done me a lot of good justice. He beat Ian Cutelaba. I told a lot of people he was going to do that. He beat Nikita Krylov. He did that. He even beat Carl Robertson. He did that for me. I really, I've been on the Glover train, but the biggest one one of my proudest predictions, right, are probably was Anthony Smith, right? When I got that one is because you got to understand, so many people were writing off Glover like this was just, it's like Glover had no chance, and just Glover, he didn't just go beat Smith like the way I thought he was going to use his grappling, and I thought he was just going to be, because Smith always talks about, I'm a jiu-jitsu and black belt, this and that, rah, rah, rah. So I thought maybe Glover might, kind of show him, like, hey, there's levels to this jiu-jitsu game, and Smith is not going to keep it on the feet where he should have, and I thought he was going to get submitted, but actually that didn't happen. Glover was like, no, I'm better than you everywhere. I'm going to knock your ass out and break your face. That's what he told him. I'm going to break your face. So, it is what it is with that. Now, obviously, I feel like those 4 fights, I feel like that's fair enough for a title shot. But Smith has just lost to Rakic, so that doesn't look too good anymore, pretty dominantly. And I'm going to say one thing about Glover is that he does have problems with guys with like that, that fast twitch muscle stuff, like a Rumble Johnson, and that's where Thiago Santos comes in, man. His run through the light heavyweight division was insane. It was Eric Anders, right? And then Eric is a middleweight, but he plays around with light heavyweight. What's his face? Jimmy Manuwa just killed Manuwa, right? That shit was sick what he did to Manuwa, and then fucking knocks out Jan Blachowicz, the light heavyweight champion, right? He does all that. So it was kind of crazy what he did, but and then he had a really close fight with John Jones, a closer fight than Glover had with John Jones. So right, all the writing is on the wall. Yeah, for Thiago Santos to win the fight, but he did have those 2 surgeries on his knees, and I think people are kind of forgetting that, and people are forgetting how good Glover Teixeira is. And sadly, fucking Thiago could go out there and kill Glover Teixeira, and I really know that. I actually really, really know that. But I'm gonna be going Glover Teixeira by 4th round submission. I think if you look at what guys like David Branch was able to do to Thiago, obviously this was in at middleweight. What Gegard Mousasi was able to do, I feel like, and these are guys that were, obviously David only got all the way up to 6, right? And Gegard got all the way up to 4 in the middleweight division. But Thiago Santos always had a problem getting up at middleweight. He could never, go up through the ranks and make it to the top, right? So when he fights a high-level guy, he's fought a lot of high-level guys, don't get it twisted, but he hasn't fought a guy like Glover. Blachowicz, I love Blachowicz. He's done me good against Dominic Reyes. He knocked his ass out. But he was a journeyman going through. Manuwa was high level. I would say at the time, Manuwa, I shouldn't say I would say, no one was looking up at the time when Blachowicz, no, that's not true. That's not true. My point is that Glover, when he was in his first ever division, he never struggled like Thiago Santos. That's my point. And Thiago Santos, when he was in middleweight, really struggled, right? So I really do think Glover is going to get this done and show him that there's levels to this game. Oh, man, I'm not. Oh, man, I'm going to be crying tears when Glover gets knocked out. But I'm going to be saying, I think Glover's going to show him levels. I think the grappling is going to come in. I think he's going to take this. I think he take this. in the 4th round. I think he has a grappling advantage, and he just has to be perfect. Really, that's all it comes down to. If Glover's perfect, then he wins this fight. If he makes one mistake, it's fucking over. That's really how I look at this fight. And yeah, that's about it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Go follow my my Twitter, my Instagram. I guess I'll show you guys my picks. And eBay predictions is out. Love y'all and goodbye.